Hey guys, Joe here with Steel Ops. Wanted to make a quick video in response to, of course, some shit that I heard on the internet. I was on Instagram today. I watched a video from a pretty prominent internet influencer. I had a couple buddies on there. They were running a panel and they were talking about body armor. For whatever reason, steel armor has been getting a lot of heat lately. I don't really know why. I think we're hitting some people in the pocketbook, and people get pissed when their sales are down. So that's all I can come up with, because there's a ton of great information out there on steel armor, particularly ours on our Instagram page. A lot of disproven myths, and it's really accessible. It's free. It takes doesn't cost you anything to get informed. So go check that stuff out. In any case, they started out the panel, and they were talking about how to choose body armor, and they said, it's really important to know what caliber you're going to be up against. Well, that's about half true. The actual intelligent way to look at it is that you need to know what caliber you're going to be up against and at what distance, because when things leave the barrel, they slow down because of math. So what I generally tell people is that when you're choosing body armor, the first caliber that you want to start out with is steel core 30-06, or as one of our buddies pointed out, also 7.62 by 5.4R in steel core, because those are two very similar rounds. So are you going to be encountering steel core 30-06? And why? Why is steel core 30-06 important? Well, that's what separates level 4 from level 3 armor, okay? So what will soon be RF3 or RF1, RF2. So are you going to be encountering steel core 30-06? If the answer to that question is yes, then the next question needs to be at what distance, okay? So if the answer to that question is inside of 100 yards, then level 4 body armor is probably what you want to wear, okay? If the answer to the first question is no, because steel core 30-06 is pretty uncommon, or if the answer to the second question is outside of 100 yards because nobody's really kicking down doors with 30-06s, then a lot of level 3 or level 4 armor are going to serve you equally as well. Now, there are some exceptions to that rule. If you think that you're going to be up against M855, which is a very common round, then UHMW PE plates or Dyneema plates are not going to work very well, because M855 goes through that stuff pretty easily. That's been shown numerous times. And then there's also the misconception about M193 and steel, and that it goes through, M193 goes through all types of steel. What that really should say is that some M193 can go through some steel. I hear this one a lot, guys. It is a totally loaded question, and it lacks a lot of specifics. We have shown our plates being able to stop M193 out of 20-inch barrels. We've done tests as close as 15 feet. You should go watch the videos. But the problem with M193 is it's a term that I think it's thrown around a little bit too loosely. I think what most people mean when they say the term M193 is what they're actually referencing, just 55 grain lead core 223. The problem with that particular round in general is that there's like 100 different brands out on the market of 55 grain lead core 223, and not a fucking one of them has the same velocity. There's some that have as little as 2,900 feet per second. There's some with as much as 3,400 feet per second, and it does depend on what barrel you're shooting it out of. But there's just a really wide velocity range. We tested it some the other day where we were getting 170 feet per second variation out of the same box of ammo of the same type. So velocity is important. Barrel length is not everything. Of course, a longer barrel is going to equate to more velocity, but if you're using a long barrel but the lower end of the spectrum of ammunition, then it all evens out. So take that into consideration. The next thing that this panel was talking about or using against steel armor is weight, and they said something like completely ridiculous, that like if you use steel, your kit is going to weigh 10 pounds more than other types of armor. Calculators are cheap on Amazon, but since you guys didn't bother to buy one, I'll do the math for you. We have 3 full-size plates. We have our Armas plate, which is 6 pounds. We have our Pro plate, which is 6.6, and we have our XP plate, which is 7.2. Now, at the low end of the spectrum with rifle-rated armor, we've got like Dyneema and UHMW PE plates. Those can weigh as little, I think, as like 3.5 pounds. And then at the upper end of the spectrum, what most people think is like super light is actually ceramic. For whatever reason, people think that ceramic is super light. No, it's not. It's one of the heaviest types. Most 100% ceramic plates are like 8.3, 8.5 pounds. And then you have your ceramic composite plates, which can fall anywhere between 5 to 4 pounds. So what are the differences? Well, between our steel plates and like the low end of the spectrum, you're looking at 5 to 7 pounds. Between the low end of the spectrum and ceramic, yeah, you are talking about actually 10 pounds. So there's that. But the difference between us and like ceramic composite or ceramic UHMW composite plates is really only, in some cases, as little as 1 to 2 pounds. So what does that equate to? Well, a fully loaded magazine can weigh anywhere between 1.75 to 2 pounds, depending on what it's made out of, right, or what ammunition's in it. So I think we're really splitting hairs here, to a certain degree. So in any case, when it comes to weight on a plate, the other thing to understand, guys, is I've got a question for you. What type of gun recoils more, a light gun or a heavy gun? Well, a light gun does, right? Because there's not enough mass there to absorb the energy. That same logic, those same physics apply to body armor, guys. A lightweight plate is going to have more felt impact, more blunt force trauma than a heavier plate. Now, I realize that there's a spectrum that we want to fall in. We don't want to be rocking 15-pound plates, but we also don't want to be rocking 1-pound plates either. And the reason for that is that all of that energy is being transferred into your body. And we've demonstrated that, guys, by taking a 6-pound steel plate, a 5-pound ceramic UHMW composite plate, and a 3.5-pound Dyneema plate, putting up against ballistic clay, shooting them with the same caliber at the same distance, and then looking at the back face deformation. And it is substantially more, guys, with the ceramic UHMW and the Dyneema than it is with the steel. And then we used a hard baseball. We threw a baseball as hard as we could at the clay from about 10 feet away to kind of put it into comparison, and that dent was substantially less than the 2 impact mark. So as a user, what does that mean? Well, what that means is that if you're wearing one of those plates, what you can expect to feel is going to be substantially worse than being hit directly in the chest from 10 feet away as hard as somebody can with a baseball. And that's important because you're probably not going to be very effective, okay? The amount of energy that you're going to absorb is probably going to prevent you from doing 2 key things, which is returning fire and rendering aid. Body armor is there to increase survivability by allowing you to either return fire or render aid and thus go home. And the important thing to remember, guys, is that generally speaking, people don't stop shooting at you just because you lost your breath. Okay, so you now become a still target on the ground, susceptible to more fire. So that's really important. The next thing that these guys brought up was multi-hit capability, and the complaint with some ceramic plates is that they can only take like 3 to 4 rounds before they fracture. And these guys' argument, well, you're really only going to take 1 or 2 rounds to the chest anyway, which I kind of argue, especially on full auto at close range with reasonable muzzle control, you can easily put 5 rounds into the chest of somebody. So I don't know, maybe these guys don't have access to full auto weapons or something. I don't know. But they need to pick their argument. So the argument is either going to be that armor plates only need to be able to stop 1 to 3 rounds, or they need to stop their bitching when a steel armor plate, after 8 rounds, the fragmentation coating falls apart. So we've done tests, guys, with fragmentation where we put 4,000 grains of ammo into one plate and controlled the fragmentation. We just released a video the other day where we put 4 rounds of 308, 4 rounds of M855 with full fragmentation control. So the fragmentation thing is done. They either need to pick their argument, but we can, the fragmentation thing is a dead horse that I'm tired of beating. We've done 45-degree angle tests. We've done 60-degree angle tests. So we need to put that one to rest. More than anything, guys, what we need to do is, as a community, make sure that we're putting out accurate information. If you're an influencer, don't let yourself be influenced. Don't let yourself be biased. And when you get tagged in a video, go fucking watch it. Don't be the guy that gets tagged and then chooses not to watch, or obtain the information because it goes against whatever your current belief system is. Get the information, and if you're one of the guys that is tagging people, keep doing it, man. We appreciate it. We'll back you guys up as much as we possibly can. We appreciate your support. So, as always, guys, if you want more information about our products, go to shop.steelops.com, and you're always welcome to reach out to us. Thanks for being Steel Ops customers and supporters, guys. We'll talk to you guys later.